where she could have challenged then for the Divas Championship, and it was beyond me why WWE didn't give her an opportunity back in 2011, 2012, 2011, and 2012. In my opinion, as a radio host and columnist, she was ready for a chance to be Divas Champion. But for some reason, WWE didn't have enough faith in her ability, and now she's become well versed in both pure wrestling and submission style wrestling. She utilizes the octopus better than anybody in the WWE when you talk about a male or a female. I mean, that move originally was called the octopus, and AJ modified it, applied it very different from the original innovator of the hold. She changed the name from the octopus to the Black Widow, and since the debut of that submission move, I mean, she's defeated every challenge and overcome every obstacle that's been put in front of her. I mean, she's really fast and so fun to watch, and I think right now the WWE is in a position, the Divas division really, is in a position where they need AJ more than AJ needs the division. I think AJ realizes that she doesn't need the Divas Championship or the division or any of the Divas to get anywhere in the WWE, and WWE thought that in 2011, 2012, when she was involved in storylines as an on-screen performer more so than a competitor. And one thing that she's thrilled about now is she's getting the chance to wrestle more than opposed to being involved in on-screen storylines. She's still getting the chance to be involved in on-screen storylines, but she has a lot of pressure on her now as Divas Champion because she's involved in on-screen storylines in matches where she has to compete, and she's involved in feuds that surrounds it with the Divas Championship. Back in 2011, 2012, she was just basically used as an on-screen performer in different roles. I enjoyed watching her in 2011, 2012 as the Raw General Manager for a short period of time. I enjoyed seeing her in storylines with Kane, CM Punk, and Daniel Bryan over the WWE Championship. I enjoyed seeing her as the valet of the World Champion Daniel Bryan because I had stated on this radio show that AJ would be a great representative of either CM Punk or Daniel Bryan, and seeing her involved in that feud with Daniel Bryan and CM Punk in 2012, seeing Kane also thrown in there, made that feud seem very diverse on times, but it was so fun seeing her then, and I think she's really thrilled just as many wrestling fans, or especially fans of AJ, are now that she's wrestling every week on Raw Super Shows in addition to Friday Night SmackDown, so it's really fun seeing how far AJ has come and what kind of role she's in now. I wished by 2011, 2012 she would have been wrestling more, and I thought originally it was because of an injury that was preventing AJ from wrestling, and then she starts wrestling all of a sudden with a desire to be WWE Divas Champion, and when she was trying to become the number one contender for the Divas Championship, she wasn't even putting up any fight at all against some of the opposition she was faced with, like Brie Bella and Beth Phoenix. Kind of AJ was just kind of there, in a position to be the number one contender for the Divas Championship, and I think that had a lot to do with the fact that Dolph Ziggler was the World Heavyweight Champion, and he told AJ that she should have a championship too to make them one of the most powerful couples in the WWE, and she had a lot of oppositions from Beth Phoenix to Caitlyn to the Bella Twins, and she overcame them all. It was almost as if AJ was just there waiting for her opportunity, and when she finally got that opportunity, she started wrestling more, and I think this is a huge plus for wrestling fans, especially fans of the Divas division. When AJ loses the Divas Championship, expect for her to have a rematch, but don't expect for her to immediately regain the Divas Championship. That is when, ladies and gentlemen, I will lose a significant amount of interest that I once had in the Divas division. I'm always a huge fan of the Divas division. I've been that way for a number of years, especially when someone like Kelly or Eve has the Divas Championship. I really don't appreciate the same kind of thing happening for the Divas division, and that's why the Divas division has been criticized for years, because the same kind of thing happens all the time, similar to how history has a habit of repeating itself in the WWE. I mean, how many times have we seen storylines involving Triple H and Stephanie McMahon over the years, ever since at least 2000, 2001 is a perfect example, and we're kind of seeing the same thing in the Divas division all the time. Now the Divas division is surrounded by Total Divas and this reality television kick the WWE's been shoving in our faces all summer, and are going to continue to shove in our faces until Total Divas novelty wears off. I mean, I'm tired of hearing about Total Divas in the Divas division. I appreciate the fact that competition's been created, and I've said this many times, really appreciate the fact that competition's been created amongst the Total Divas cast members, but I'd like to see more competition created within the division that has nothing to do with Total Divas. I'd much rather see a number one contender for the Divas Championship besides Brie Bella, because they don't have anything to do with Total Divas. I mean, let's face facts. Yes, the Bella Twins are great wrestlers, but the reasons why they are the number one contenders for the Divas Championships as of late all the time is because that the stars of Total Divas, if they weren't the stars of Total Divas, something else would be going on within the division. I mean, that is a fact. So I really don't appreciate what they're doing with the Divas division. Let's say if AJ was feuding with someone who was on her same level, not saying that the Bella Twins aren't on the same level of AJ, but if she was feuding with someone who was on her same level of competition, who had nothing to do with Total Divas, and you left the competition amongst the Total Divas cast members amongst themselves to promote the show, I would be enjoying the Divas division a little bit more. I always appreciate something of novelty when it comes to the Divas division. That's why I really appreciated Kelly as the Divas champion from June or July of 2011 up until October of that same year, because it was different in the Divas division. And that's why I appreciate the reign of AJ as the Divas champion, because it really gives you a feeling of novelty, and you're kind of wondering who is ever going to be in a position to take the Divas championship away from AJ, because right now the answer to that question is no one, and I don't see this reign of AJ coming to an end until at least it reaches the 6 or 7 month mark, and then we'll see a new Divas champion crowned. Probably then one of the cast members of Total Divas will win the championship. If not Brie Bella, someone else. I think Brie Bella right now is the only one, if I had to determine a number one contender who was actually in a predictable position to take the championship away from AJ because of her status of her boyfriend Daniel Bryan. Brie Bella is probably the only one in a position right now to take the title off of AJ, because who else is well versed in submission and pure wrestling other than Natalya in the Divas division? There's really nobody as well versed as what AJ's been versed ever since at least 2010 and 2011 and 2012. She was ready for this role, and I think this role is long overdue for AJ, and I've been very proud of AJ over the last at least 2 years, and I'm going to continue to be proud of AJ until I'm proven wrong, until a Diva comes along and knocks AJ off of this pedestal, which I don't see happening anytime soon. I see her coming through on her promise of defeating all the cast members of Total Divas up until she loses the Divas Championship to someone who is worthy of taking the title from her. I think she's worthy of coming through on her promise, and I really don't think anyone other than the exception of probably 1 or 2 of the cast members of Total Divas, probably Natalya and Brie Bella on the other side of things, are in a position right now to take the championship away from her. And when she goes to lose the Divas Championship, I'm going to put this out over the microphone, she needs to lose the championship to someone who is worthy of taking the title off of AJ. I mean, they took Caitlyn out of the storylines for the Divas Championship. I appreciated that because Caitlyn had held the Divas Championship for far too long. I was waiting for someone else to come along and have a meaningful reign, and I was hoping that AJ would get to this point as Divas champion. Every one of her matches I've enjoyed. Every one of her matches have gotten more unpredictable. I've really appreciated the metamorphosis of AJ over the past couple of months into the psychotic diva who has a switch that can be flipped at any given moment, because it makes it that much more unpredictable and fun to watch as a wrestling fan. And for me right now, I wouldn't care if AJ was Divas champion for the next 2 years and was the longest reigning Divas champion in history, because AJ is deserving of that, especially with how much criticism AJ has received. Now, if she's been receiving a lot of positive reviews over the past couple of months, it's because her Divas Championship reign is nothing short of impressive. And I think that's really the only way of describing AJ's reign as Divas Champion. And apart from that, she's just so fun to watch. F-U-N capitalized. She's just so fun to watch, and I don't see her reign ending anytime soon. And if you are someone who has criticized AJ rather than give her the benefit of the doubt, you are nothing but a son of a bitch, because if you just look at all the matches that AJ's been involved in, both on television and for pay-per-view distribution, I mean, it's been so fun to watch her, and she's getting better all the time. So that's why I say, and why I've always believed for the last couple of months, really for the last 3 years of AJ's career, that's why I've always believed that AJ is the greatest Divas champion of all time. Do you agree with my statement and believement of AJ being the greatest Divas champion of all time? I stated a number of reasons why I believe AJ is the greatest champion of all time in the Divas division, and the history of that championship since its inception. We have seen so many people hold it, from Michelle McCool to Maurice, but nobody, rather than probably Michelle McCool or someone like Eve Torres, has really been on the level of someone like AJ, and no one has had as impressive reign as Divas champion, with the exception of probably Michelle McCool, than AJ has had. So do you agree with my statement of AJ being the greatest Divas champion of all time? Throw me something up at the bottom of this YouTube video. Tweet me your opinion with a creative hashtag on Twitter. I really appreciate those at Jonathan Clarke 1, and of course join the conversation on our Facebook page with over 1,000 subscribers, facebook.com/HEW Entertainment, as I look forward to your opinion on AJ being the greatest Divas champion of all time. I'll archive this video for you as both a popular and recently featured video on our YouTube channel with over 1,000 videos recently archived for you and 20,000 channel views. We've got over 18,000 tweets on our Twitter at Jonathan Clarke 1. Look for a lot of AJ videos on there. And over 1,000 subscribers on our Facebook page at facebook.com/HW Entertainment. Check out some of the more recent news items which have been popping up on our Facebook page. And I've got some music lined up for you after the break. Katy Perry's Roar outsold Lady Gaga's Applause on iTunes by a few thousand. Sales of both singles and albums. I got Roar for you coming up after the break.
When something takes place in the world of professional wrestling, you know where to go. WrestleZone.com. WrestleZone.com. Covering all the latest breaking news daily. Interactive forums where you can chat with thousands of other wrestling fans. Exclusive editorials and audio features by some of today's top wrestling superstars. Exclusive video content. Weekly polls. Live play-by-play coverage of every WWE and TNA pay-per-view. And now, featuring WrestleZone Radio, live with news, in-depth discussions, debates, and interviews with wrestling's top stars, past and present. When you think wrestling, think WrestleZone. WrestleZone.com.
He considers himself God's gift to wrestling, and millions of his faithful agree. With nearly 4 hours of footage and exclusive commentary and matches, this DVD chronicles Daniel's rise from Chicago's Windy City Wrestling to the Asylum in Nashville, and finally to the top of TNA. TNA Home Video presents Heaven Sent, Hell Bound, the best of Christopher Daniels. Available at most retailers and TNAWrestling.com.
Hey you right there, the one listening to this show. While you're tuning into this broadcast or when you read the news on WrestleZone.com, are you forming opinions of it all? Or do you just agree with everything you see and hear? If you actually have some sort of afterthought, which, by the way, is normal, we want to know what it is. There are thousands of wrestling fans just like you that simply can't hold their thoughts in either, and they let it all out in our interactive forums. You have a voice, so use it. Simply visit forums.WrestleZone.com. Don't just be active, be reactive in the official WrestleZone.com forums. For all the latest in mixed martial arts, be sure to visit WrestleZone's sister site, SureDog.com. Complete with daily news, exclusive video, interviews, live radio broadcast, interactive forums, and the very popular Fight Finder with bios and complete match-by-match histories of your favorite fighters. SureDog.